Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
The air was thick with dust and despair as Benjamin navigated the skeletal remains of what had once been a bustling city. Towering buildings, now charred and crumbling, loomed like ghosts over the quiet streets. The smell of smoke clung to his clothes, a constant reminder of the war that raged on. A war not just for survival, but for humanity itself. In this dystopian world, humanity had become an endangered species, teetering on the edge of extinction. Since the alien invasion began, all that was familiar had been stripped away. Friends, family, and safety were memories etched deep within him. Now, Benjamin wandered through the ruins, a solitary figure in a landscape that felt more like a graveyard than a home. "Just keep moving," he muttered to himself, the sound of his voice barely breaking the silence. He felt the weight of his past on his shoulders, an anchor dragging him down into the abyss. But he had promised his family that he would keep fighting, that he would protect what was left of their kind. As he scavenged through the wreckage, a plume of dark smoke curled skyward in the distance. It was a sight both familiar and terrifying. Fires were common now, often the result of the ongoing tensions between humans and the alien forces that had descended upon them. Drawn by duty, and perhaps a glimmer of hope, Benjamin began to run. His heart pounded in his chest as he approached the source of the smoke. The cacophony of chaos grew louder, a mixture of screams, shouts, and the crackling of flames. The scene that unfolded before him was one of destruction and desperation. A group of civilians struggled against the fiery inferno, their faces twisted in fear as they tried to save what they could. In the center of the chaos, his eyes fell upon a figure that stood out among the throng, an alien girl, unlike any he had ever seen. Her bright, colorful skin shimmered, reflecting the flames surrounding her. Panic swirled in her large, expressive eyes, and she was clearly trapped by the encroaching fire. Benjamin's heart raced as he realized he couldn't just stand by and watch. Fighting against the instinctual fear that urged him to turn away from the alien, Benjamin charged into the blaze, the heat searing against his skin. "Stay back!" he shouted, urging the panicking crowd to retreat. He could see the path to the girl was narrowing, flames licking hungrily at the ground between them. As he approached, Benjamin's lungs burned, but he pressed on, focusing on the goal ahead. He reached the girl, his gaze locking onto hers. "I'm here to help," he shouted, trying to be heard over the roar of the flames. She looked at him, bewildered and scared. For a fleeting moment, all the horror of the war around them faded. It was just the two of them. Benjamin didn't think, he acted. With swift determination, he reached out to her, grabbing her wrist and pulling her toward him. The heat was overwhelming, but time was running out. The fire crackled dangerously close, and he knew he had to get them both to safety. "Come on, we have to move," he urged, adrenaline surging through his veins. The girl resisted for just a moment, and he felt a flicker of doubt. Could he really save her? But as they locked eyes again, he saw her fear and her trust in him. It filled him with a sudden clarity. He could not let prejudice hold him back. The flame of humanity burned in her eyes, as bright as the inferno around them. With a deep breath, he yanked her away from the fire's grasp, his muscles straining as they stumbled through the flames. Together, they made their way to safety, breathless and exhilarated, the fire raging behind them like a distant nightmare. Emerging from the smoke, Benjamin lowered them both to the ground, gasping for air. The girl, whose expression shifted from fear to relief, stared at him with an intensity that sent a ripple of emotion through him. "Thank you," she breathed, her voice a melodic sound that resonated deep within his heart. In that moment, Benjamin knew this was no ordinary encounter. This was the beginning of something profound. As the smoke dispersed, Benjamin and the alien girl found themselves in a clearing away from the raging fire. The chaos of the city shrank into distant echoes as they caught their breaths. The alien girl, still trembling, stared at Benjamin with wide eyes filled with a mix of fear and gratitude. "Are you hurt?" Benjamin asked, scanning her for injuries. He noted the singed edges of her clothing and the soot that smeared her vibrant skin, but miraculously, she seemed unharmed. Luna! He remembered the name she had whispered, a name that danced on the edge of his mind. Her exotic features glimmered in the fading light, and he saw a reflection of the struggle for survival that resonated in both their worlds. "No," she replied, her voice soft yet firm. "But the fire." She hesitated, searching for the right words. "It was meant for me." Benjamin felt a wave of concern wash over him. "What do you mean?" Luna took a step back, instinctively defensive. "They sent it to punish me for fleeing. The firewalkers don't take it lightly when one of their own escapes." It took Benjamin a moment to process her words. Firewalkers? Was that a faction of the alien force? Despite the confusion swirling in his head, one truth stood out starkly. She was in danger, and he could not abandon her. They needed to formulate a plan. "Listen," he said, steadying his voice to calm both her and himself. "We need to hide, to find a safe place. There must be others who can help us. Do you know anywhere?" Luna shook her head, her brow creased with worry. "I don't know where to go. My people, they are not welcoming to humans. Not after what has happened." A pang of pain shot through him at her words. He understood all too well the barriers between their peoples. In her eyes, he saw the stigma he had fought to erase, a reflection of the prejudice that now held them both prisoner in their own minds. "Then we'll find a way together," he asserted, taking a step closer. "I won't let them take you." Luna paused, her gaze softening as she considered his words. He could see the flicker of hope shining through the fear. It sparked something inside him. His heart quickened as he realized how much he wanted to protect her, how much he wanted to explore this connection. As dusk settled around them, illuminating the charred landscape, Benjamin knew they had to move. "We can hide in the ruins. There are places where we can wait it out until it's safe," he proposed, his instincts kicking in. Reluctantly, Luna nodded, and they set off together, moving cautiously through the tangled debris of the devastated city. Every sound, every shifting shadow raised their hearts in trepidation. Benjamin stayed close to Luna, guiding her through the labyrinth of twisted metal and broken concrete. They maneuvered into a half-collapsed building that offered some semblance of cover. The air was stale, thick with the scent of ash and remnants of destruction. Benjamin motioned for Luna to find a corner to rest against as he peered out through the shattered window, scanning the area for any sign of danger. "How did you end up there?" he asked, glancing back at her, seeking to learn more about this girl who had shaken his world so profoundly. Luna took a deep breath, her color dulling a little. "I was on a reconnaissance mission for my people. I didn't believe what they told me about humans. The stories of evil and destruction. I wanted to see for myself." Her tone grew heavy with sorrow. "But I found only destruction everywhere. When I tried to return, I was captured by the firewalkers. They are ruthless, and they do not forgive traitors." Benjamin clenched his fists, his heart aching for her plight. "You're not a traitor. You were brave for seeking the truth." His voice filled with conviction. "You risked everything to find out who we are." Luna met his gaze, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "Bravery has no place in this war. I sought knowledge, but it has put me in danger. Now they'll stop at nothing to capture me." As the darkness closed around them, Benjamin felt an instinctual pull toward her. "You're not alone anymore," he vowed. "I will help you." The bond that blossomed between them was unexpected and overwhelming. Every heartbeat felt synchronized, each breath thrust into their shared reality. Benjamin looked at Luna, her vulnerability now lit with determination, and he felt a spark ignite deep within him. Outside, the atmosphere shifted. Shadows danced at the corners of his vision. He refocused, pushing the overwhelming thoughts aside. "We should stay low and be quiet for now. We'll wait for the right moment to move." As the time stretched into uncertainty, they huddled close together, each moment amplifying the quiet bond forming between them, a bond that transcended the boundaries of their worlds. The warmth of her presence seeped into his heart, filling the void left by loss and sorrow. Hours passed, cloaked in silence, only interrupted by distant sounds of chaos resonating through the night. Benjamin couldn't help but steal glances at Luna. She was strange yet familiar, an intricate marvel adorned in a cloak of fear and resilience. "Why do you help me?" Luna finally asked, her voice breaking through the stillness. "It's dangerous for you." He turned fully to her, the resolve within him solidifying. "Because I can't just stand by while someone needs help. You've shown me a side of this conflict I never understood until now, one that I refuse to ignore." Luna's eyes glimmered as she smiled softly, revealing a glimpse of the strength she possessed. With a determination that mirrored his own, she took his hands, alien and human intertwining. "Then let us fight together." In that moment, he knew they were no longer just two individuals caught in a perilous situation. They were allies, searching for hope amid despair, and perhaps more than that. The dawn was approaching, and with it came renewed courage and a looming adventure. He felt a flicker of possibility. They could forge a new path that defied the expectations of the worlds they each hailed from. As dawn broke over the horizon, the first rays of sunlight pierced through the dust and debris, casting an eerie glow on the remnants of the city. The air felt charged with possibility, and Benjamin took a moment to breathe it in, drawing strength from the new day. Beside him, Luna stirred, blinking slowly as she adjusted to the light. "Are you ready to move?" Benjamin whispered, wanting to keep her spirits high. They needed to find a safer location, far from the danger of the firewalkers, who would certainly be searching for her. Luna nodded, her gaze steady. "Yes, but where will we go?" Her voice was quiet, but laced with determination. Benjamin took a moment to think. There was a small community outside the city, survivors who had banded together to withstand the alien threat. He had heard of their existence, but had never ventured that far out. "I know a place, a settlement where they help people like us. But it's risky." Luna tilted her head, curiosity glimmering in her eyes. "Risky how?" "They're distrustful of aliens. But if I can convince them you're not a threat, they might help us." He hesitated, the memories of fear and hostility over the last few years surfacing. "If they see you as a human ally, they might accept you." A flicker of anxiety crossed Luna's features, and Benjamin felt the urge to reassure her. "We'll figure it out together. I promise." As they gathered what little remained in the ruins, a few supplies scavenged from their hasty escape, they shared stories of their lives. Benjamin recounted tales of family and a world before the invasion, his voice tinged with nostalgia. He spoke of long-forgotten parks, laughter echoing through streets, and memories of a time when humans felt safe. Luna listened intently, her eyes reflecting a poignant sadness. "I never knew such a world existed," she said, her voice a gentle caress in the ambient sounds of the ruins. "My people, we live under a cloud of fear since you came. The stories we hear make you all sound like monsters." Benjamin's heart sank at her words. "I understand. You have every right to feel that way. But not all humans are like what you've heard. We're fighting for our survival, like you." Her expression softened, and a flicker of understanding passed between them. "Then perhaps we can show each other another way, a way to break through the beliefs we've carried." Encouraged by her words, they shared further. Luna spoke of her journey and the wonders of her world, describing alien landscapes filled with vibrant flora and fauna that Benjamin could barely imagine. Her culture, rich with tradition and connection to the cosmos, fascinated him. She recounted rituals performed under the watchful gaze of multiple moons, the music that echoed through festivals, and the unity of her people in their efforts to understand the universe. "I've always believed in exploring beyond our boundaries," she explained, "but I did not expect it would come at such a high cost." With each story, they began forging a bond, stitching together their realities one thread at a time. Benjamin marveled at her bravery, her unwavering spirit radiating amidst the turmoil surrounding them. He felt a growing admiration for her, a deepening connection that went beyond mere circumstance. "I want to see your world, Luna," he confessed, his voice almost a whisper, "to understand you and your people beyond the fear." At this, Luna's smile blossomed even brighter. "And I want to know more about yours, Benjamin. Perhaps through understanding, We can bridge our two worlds." Their hands found each other again, fingers intertwining spontaneously. It was a small connection, but it felt monumental, a promise to trust, to listen, and to fight against the shadows of hate that loomed over them. As the morning sun crested higher, the warmth blanketing them in a golden glow, Benjamin took a decisive breath. "Let's get moving. We'll need to be careful and stay vigilant." Luna steeled herself, nodding once more. "I trust you." The journey toward the settlement was fraught with tension, each rustle of leaves or a distant sound sending a jolt through Benjamin's body. They traveled through the outskirts, traversing abandoned buildings and roadways that bore the scars of alien conflict. As they neared the edges of the city, Benjamin felt a strange mixture of hope and dread wash over him. The settlement sat just ahead, a series of makeshift structures nestled within old fortifications, a bastion of humanity trying to hold onto their identity. "Stay close," he instructed, and as they approached the entrance, Benjamin summoned his courage. The settlement's guards eyed them suspiciously, their postures rigid, weapons at the ready. "Benjamin!" A voice called out from within the gates. A tall figure emerged, a woman with fierce eyes, someone who had survived the harshness of this new world. It was Clara, a leader among the survivors. "Where have you been?" Clara questioned, her tone a mix of relief and reprimand. Then her gaze fell on Luna, and the air grew tense. "And who is this?" "Her name is Luna," he said, stepping forward, using his body to shield her from any potential hostility. "She's not a threat. She needs our help." Clara narrowed her eyes, skepticism etched into her features. "An alien? Are you out of your mind? We've seen what they can do." "No!" Benjamin interjected forcefully. "You don't understand. She's not like the others, and she helped me. She saved my life. We can't turn her away." Luna remained beside him, her presence a reassuring reminder that they were in this together. "Please," she said, her voice steadier than he expected. "I don't wish to harm anyone. I only seek refuge from my own people." Clara studied them both, weighing her options. It felt like the world was holding its breath. After what felt like an eternity, she sighed and softened slightly. "Very well, but I won't have you jeopardizing the safety of this settlement. You'll have to prove yourselves." A heavy tension lifted, but Benjamin felt the weight of judgment as Clara motioned for them to enter. There was much to learn, and much at stake. Their bonds would be tested in ways they couldn't predict. Once inside, they were greeted by wary gazes and hushed whispers. The isolation from their respective worlds was palpable, but Benjamin felt a flicker of hope emerge. Together, they might navigate the uncertainties to forge a brighter future, one where understanding and camaraderie could overcome fear. Through the quiet murmur of the settlement, he sensed that the first step toward trust was taking place, not only between him and Luna, but among their worlds as well. As Benjamin and Luna stepped further into the settlement, a wave of mixed emotions washed over him. The vibrant community hummed with life, survivors moving about with purpose amidst makeshift homes and communal spaces. Yet the wary glances directed at Luna reminded him how fragile this newfound alliance truly was. Clara led them toward a central meeting area, a large tent adorned with remnants of human culture, framed photographs of better days, drawn maps of the surrounding areas, and the etched names of those lost during the war. With each step, they drew closer to a decision that could alter their course. "Gather around," Clara called out, her voice slicing through the ambient noise. A small crowd began to form, faces shifting from curiosity to apprehension as they recognized Benjamin and the alien girl at his side. The murmurs traveled through the crowd, a weave of suspicion and intrigue. Benjamin could feel the weight of their stares, but he remained resolute. He understood that Luna's acceptance hinged on him making them see what he saw, a soul seeking refuge, not a harbinger of doom. "My friends," he began, projecting his voice while trying to tame the fear that bubbled within him. "I know you have every reason to be cautious, but Luna is not our enemy. She saved my life when I could have perished in the flames." He continued, recounting their harrowing escape, the peril they had faced, and the bond that had formed in the chaos. The crowd listened, albeit warily. Among the many faces, he sought out Clara's, hoping she sensed the sincerity behind his words. "But how do we know she is not one of them?" A voice rang out from the crowd, splintering the tension in the air. A man with a scruffy beard stood with his arms crossed, skepticism etched across his features. "You bring her here, and we risk our lives." "Enough, Marcus," Clara interjected, her tone firm. "We need to hear Benjamin out." She turned to him, encouraging him to continue. "Luna came to our world with the hope of understanding, not destruction. She wishes to bridge the divide that has led our peoples to war," Benjamin asserted, glancing at Luna, who stood beside him, still with an air of vulnerability, but also a newfound determination. "We have to give her that chance." Luna took a step forward, the confidence in her stance surprising him. "I am a survivor as much as you are. The Firewalkers are ruthless, and I fled them to seek freedom. I wish for peace between our worlds." Murmurs swept through the crowd, a mixture of doubt and curiosity. Benjamin felt the ticking clock of their fate. The longer they debated, the more dangerous it became. "Please," he urged, "allow her to stay, and I will do everything in my power to prove her loyalty." They stood together, facing the crowd, waiting for a response that felt like a storm gathering just on the horizon. It was Clara who finally broke the silence, her gaze shifting between them and the crowd. "We will give her a chance, but be warned, any sign of betrayal will not be tolerated." Benjamin exhaled, relief flooding over him like a wave. "Thank you, Clara. We won't let you down." As they integrated Luna into the community, Benjamin felt gratitude swell within him. Days turned into weeks, and Luna's presence slowly began to shift perceptions. She took to helping the elderly and children, learning their ways and sharing her culture. Many began to see her not as an enemy, but as a beacon of hope. However, the peace was shrouded in tension, and the threat of the Firewalkers loomed large. Benjamin could not shake the feeling that they would come for Luna, realizing she had escaped their grasp. He and Clara strategized over how to fortify the settlement, increasing patrols, and ensuring their defenses were impenetrable. One evening, Benjamin and Luna found a moment of respite beneath a brilliant tapestry of stars, away from the chaos of urgent preparations. They sat together outside the tent, the cool air wrapping around them like a comforting embrace. "Is life always this chaotic?" Luna asked, her eyes twinkling as she gazed up at the stars, which felt almost familiar and foreign all at once. "Pretty much," Benjamin chuckled. "But it's these moments that remind me of the beauty that still exists, even when the world feels lost." Luna shifted closer to him, warmth radiating between them. "I wish to see beauty in my world again, to remember what it feels like not to live in fear." "I hope we can make that happen," Benjamin replied, his heart aching for her. They shared a comfortable silence, breathing in the soft sounds of their surroundings. But the calm was abruptly shattered. A piercing alarm echoed from the settlement's perimeter, jolting them both from their tranquility. Clara's voice rang out through the chaos. "They're here!" Instinct kicked in, and Benjamin leaped to his feet, pulling Luna to his side. "We have to get to safety." They raced towards the central gathering space, where Clara and the others had already begun to mobilize. The settlement buzzed with frantic energy, shouts commanding order amid the encroaching chaos. "Gather everyone to the inner defenses," Clara shouted, her voice cutting through the panic. As they worked to consolidate the residents into the heart of the settlement's defenses, Benjamin caught sight of a dark figure moving at the perimeter, unmistakably an alien, one of the Firewalkers. The presence ignited an intense urgency within him. "Luna, stay close," he urged, feeling the fear that threatened to creep back in. The situation was spiraling, and he needed her safe. But making it through the crowd was a restless sea of bodies, and it felt like an eternity before they reached the central defenses. Points of entry were barricaded, and armed individuals took their positions, determination etched across their features. It was then that Benjamin noticed Clara standing firm, her voice harnessing the chaos. Hold steady. They are here for Luna. We must protect each other. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed, shaking the ground beneath their feet. One of the outer defenses buckled as a group of firewalkers broke through. Benjamin's heart raced as he felt the encroaching threat grow nearer. Form a line. Watch your flanks. Clara commanded as everyone braced for impact. The air vibrated with tension, a mixture of fear and resolve as the moment of conflict hung in the balance. As the first of the firewalkers breached the defenses, Benjamin's instincts kicked in. He grabbed a discarded weapon, ready to fight for not just Luna, but the new future they had begun to forge. But as he moved forward to join the defense, he stole a glance at Luna, who stood paralyzed by fear. "You can do this," he shouted above the chaos, grounding her with his gaze. "You're not alone." With his words igniting a spark of defiance within her, Luna found her courage. She reached for a small weapon of her own, stepping up beside him. Their shoulders brushed in silent solidarity, and at that moment, they were no longer just human and alien. They were a united front. As the battle erupted around them, Benjamin fought with ferocity, alongside the growing strength of an alien girl who had become so much more than he ever imagined. Together, they stood firm against the tides of darkness, determined to protect their newfound home. The air around the settlement was thick with the smell of smoke and the acrid scent of fear as the battle raged on. Benjamin fought side by side with Luna, every instinct honed to protect her, urging her to stay close. They had become an unbreakable team, two souls intertwined by fate and necessity. With each firewalker they faced, the bond between them deepened, a connection forged in the fires of conflict and nurtured by the love blooming in the treacherous landscape. The chaos swirled around them like a storm, but amidst the melee, they found solace in each other, a shared determination to survive, and something much more profound. "Stay focused, Luna," Benjamin called out as they fended off yet another wave of invaders. Her fierce spirit shone as she parried and defended beside him, and with each shared glance, words unspoken passed between them, a recognition of their strength and vulnerability. Finally, as the battle ebbed, and the last of the firewalkers were driven back, the exhaustion from their fight washed over them. Clara commanded the survivors to regroup, and Benjamin turned to Luna, breathing heavily. The adrenaline coursing through him began to fade, replaced by a surge of something stronger, a yearning that had grown all too evident during the chaos. "Luna," he said, his voice low and urgent. "We need to talk." He didn't want to overshadow the celebration of their victory, but an undeniable truth hung in the air. They had defied not just the odds, but the differences between their worlds. She met his gaze, her eyes shining. "I know," she replied softly, understanding the gravity of what they had faced and where they stood now. Their connection was unlike anything either had ever known. With the settlement coming together in celebration, Benjamin led Luna away from the crowd to a secluded spot where the stars began to twinkle in the night sky above. The cool breeze brushed past them, carrying away the remnants of battle, and in that moment, the world faded into the background. "After everything, I can't help but feel this incredible bond with you," Benjamin confessed. "It's as if we were always meant to find each other." A soft blush crept across Luna's features, her vibrant skin glowing under the moonlight. "I feel it too, Benjamin. It defies the boundaries that society has placed on us. This connection transcends our differences." They stood facing each other, the weight of unspoken desire hanging heavy in the air. In the silence, the distance that had once existed between their worlds began to melt away. With a tentative step forward, Benjamin took her hands in his. "Luna, we've fought so hard against the odds, and through it all, you've shown me that love can exist even amid despair. It feels right to take this next step. I want to be with you fully and completely," he declared, the words flowing from his heart. Her breath hitched, and an electric charge surged through the air as she nodded. "Yes, I want that too, Benjamin. I want to explore our bond, to be part of each other's worlds, and to create something beautiful together." In that instant, it was as if a current of energy ignited between them. Benjamin drew closer, bridging the gap that had kept their hearts separate. The world around them faded again, until all that remained was the warmth of their shared existence. As their lips met for the first time, it was both gentle and powerful. Every worry, every fear washed away, and in its place ignited a burning passion fueled by their struggles and hopes. Their kiss deepened, and Benjamin felt the realization of mating, a joining not just of bodies but souls, whispering through him like a secret language. Luna melted against him, and he could sense the harmony of their energies merging, an exquisite dance of human and alien that transcended any prior prejudice. He cradled her face, feeling her pulse racing against his fingertips, and a warm glow enveloped them both, as if the universe was surrounding them in approval. "In this moment, let us become one," he murmured, his breath mingling with hers. Luna's eyes sparkled with understanding. "Mating, an act of unity that binds our worlds together. Let it symbolize our hope," she whispered back, a promise lacing her words. As they entwined, both in body and spirit, Benjamin felt the strains of their respective cultures begin to dissolve. They merged together in a beautiful tapestry of love, bridging the divide that had once separated them. In that sacred space, they honored their connection, a mating that became a testament to the strength of love over fear. They explored each other with newfound intimacy, surrendering to the emotions that had built up through the fight and the fire. As their worlds fused, sparks ignited in the starlit night. They embraced the essence of harmony, not just between themselves, but as symbols of what the future could hold, a future where human and alien could coexist, free from the stigmas of the past. With dawn approaching and their bodies entwined beneath the starlit sky, Benjamin knew that this was not merely a conclusion, but a new beginning. They had weathered the storm, faced adversity, and emerged victorious, united in a way that would forever change the fabric of their existence. Luna nestled against him, her head resting on his chest, as they surrendered to the newfound peace that enveloped them. They had built something extraordinary, and with each heartbeat, they knew their love was just the start of a brighter tomorrow, one where unity, love, and understanding transcended the stars.